everyone, Sabrina here from Scrappy Tales Crafts, and today I'm going to be showing you 5 cards that I created with the May 2020 Hero Arts card kit. I know I'm quite late, but I did just receive this kit a few weeks ago. I'm still waiting on the June and the July kit, but hopefully I will have a video up for those two as well. Right now I'm just showing you what comes in the kit. This month's theme was rainbow. To me, it kind of had like a 70s vibe to it. I'm not sure why. I think it was the sun with the smiley face. I thought that was really cute. You also get these Karen pens in 3 colors, and they're basically just metallic markers. I think they were included in the kit along with some envelopes for maybe some nail art. If you're into calligraphy, I think the nibs on the markers were good for brush lettering. So I think that's why they included them in the kit, but I didn't use them. Well, actually, I did use the gold pen, and I'll show you how I use that a little bit later. But right now I'm showing you guys the coloring. I did stamp out each image from the stamp set twice. I wanted to create 5 cards today, so I felt like 2 of each image was enough to work with. I did have some leftovers, but not very many. At this point, I wasn't sure what my cards were going to look like, so I just started coloring, and usually when I'm coloring I can start thinking of ideas. Sometimes when I work with kits I already have sketched out some card ideas. It just, I guess, depends on my mood during the day, and today I just wanted to start coloring. So I am using my Copic markers. I did stamp everything out with Memento Tuxedo black ink on 110-pound white Neenah cardstock. Both the paper and the ink I'm using work well with alcohol markers. For the larger images, I use 3 markers, such as for the clouds here. You can see that I colored them in blue, which typically I would color clouds gray, but I just felt like the blue would be different and would help the rainbow pop out even more. And I'm really happy I went with blue, and I liked how this looked so much that for all the clouds on my 5 cards, I colored them in with some lighter blue colors. And then for the rays on the rainbow and the small images, I just used 2 markers. I really love how you can get some quick coloring with Copics and you still get shading even if you just use 2 markers. So after I was finished coloring, I checked my camera and saw that I had been filming for 30 minutes. So in total, it took me about an hour to color up all of these images, and then off camera I ran these images through with their coordinating dies from the kit. I will say that there were a few images from the stamp set that did not have a coordinating die, which was kind of strange, but the dies did come with some extra dies that were not in the stamp set. Like you got a hot air balloon, another smaller rainbow, you got cute little clouds with swirls in them. So yeah, I guess you didn't get all the coordinating dies, but you got some extra dies, which I thought was interesting. I don't think they've ever done that before. Here's where I use that gold Karen marker. You can see I stamped out, actually I stamped more of the lightning bolts because I did know in my head that I wanted to create a card with a thunderstorm scene next to a bright sunny day scene. So I did stamp out, I think, 6 of the lightning bolts, and I colored them in with the gold Karen marker. Here I'm showing you the other rainbow from the stamp set. I don't know why. The rainbow and the smiling sun just reads 70s to me. I think this kit is really cute. I love the stamp set and the sentiments included. There was a few sentiments in the stamp set that were geared towards mail art or envelope art, so you can stamp some of those sentiments that you can stamp on the flap of your envelopes. There were a few that were really cute. I think one said warning, happiness enclosed, one said handmade, handle with care, and there was a happy mail sentiment. So there was a few that would work very well on envelopes, and I think that's why they included envelopes in the kit. And I'm actually someone who does not decorate the envelopes like to match the card that's inside, but I think just adding a single stamp onto the flap of the envelope just packs a punch. It looks very professional, and I've always wanted to do it, but I never bought the stamps that would be cute on an envelope, so I thought those addition of those sentiments were really nice. So overall, I really liked this kit, and I'm not sure if it's sold out or not. Like I said, it is the May kit. Hero Arts is running a little bit behind because of COVID. So if it is still available, I will have it linked down below. For this sentiment here, I wanted it to be a rainbow as well. So I am actually blending two color families together, and because copics are transparent, you can pretty much blend any color family. It is not super hard to blend colors that are right next to each other on the rainbow. So here you can see I'm blending purple to blue, and it's pretty easy. And then above that I did blue to green, orange to yellow, and then red to orange. So included in the kit were these little daisies. You get two different kinds. So I colored them obviously in rainbow colors, and I thought it would be fun to create a pattern with them. So I'm arranging them onto this stitch rectangle panel, which I cut from white cardstock. And you can see I am alternating the two different types of daisies. And then I'm just arranging them so they fit a little bit nicer onto the panel. And then I did hand cut that sentiment. And I thought I wanted to include the sun, which, by the way, that larger sun that I layered behind the one with the smiling face, I stamped all of those onto yellow cardstock. I didn't bother to color them in. You can see that I messed around with the layout for a bit, but I ended up taking the sun off and just using the sentiment. I did like how the pattern turned out, so I'm just going to start gluing everything down now with my art glitter glue. I also used that gold Caron pen to color the centers of all of the daisies, and it is metallic, so when it hits the light it does shine, but I couldn't help myself. I had to put gems in the center of the flowers, but I do think the gold pen does look nice. I just like that little bit of added sparkle because this is a pretty simple card. Alright, so I put it onto my card base and I just felt like it wasn't popping enough. I still wasn't sure about the layout. I really wanted to use that sun. And I know I'm not the only one, but sometimes you just have an idea in your head and you can't let it go. So no matter how many times you put it back in the same spot, it just doesn't work. But you think, well, maybe if I do it one more time, it will work. Or maybe if I move it over here. And no, it wasn't meant for this card. But I will use that sun on my next card, So, like I said, I didn't think it stood out on the white card base, so I did add a black mat behind the flower pattern panel, and I also added some black behind the sentiment. All of the sentiments were encouragement, which is really nice to go with the rainbow theme. So here I'm just freehand cutting that mat. And I decided to add that sentiment to the bottom right. I did not want to cover up those flowers. So I will pop up the sentiment with some foam tape and add that. And then here's where I decide to add those gems into the centers of each of my flowers. And these are called Fairy Rocks. They're by Trinity Stamps. I am attaching those gems with my art glitter glue. It is a very strong glue. It will adhere small embellishments, so it's definitely my favorite glue for card making. But once those are all adhered, that will complete my first card. I thought it was fun to use those two small images from the stamp set to create a pattern paper kind of look with them. And it's just a little bit different, so we're going to move on to card 2 now. I'm taking a cloud stencil from my stash and I'm going to ink blend some blue onto the stencil. I'm using a blender brush. I'm not even re-inking it. I'm just using whatever's left on it to add the ink. And then I die cut some cloud borders. I think these are by Sue Wilson. I will have all of the extra supplies I used linked down below. I cut one border from white cardstock and another from vellum. I'm going to add one border to the bottom of the card panel and one to the top. And then I will place my rainbow in the center. I'm going to pop up the cloud borders with some foam tape. So here's my second one. I'm just going to adhere the vellum behind it. I just think the vellum adds a little bit of interest, and I tuck part of my rainbow underneath the vellum clouds, and I think it just adds a nice little touch of detail. All right, so here I'm just laying out my scene. You can see I did some extra die cutting with those additional die cuts that came in the kit. I cut a hot air balloon and 2 of those clouds. I think I actually cut 3 of them. And the larger cloud on that rainbow is perfect to stamp this sentiment inside of, which says "Sending you love." I stamped that out with some black ink, and now I'm going to arrange my scene. I really like the look of the 2 suns layered together, so I will attach those. And I'm going to pull back my cloud stencil and add some more blue ink onto my border cloud dies. I just felt like they were too stark white, and I wanted them to blend in with the background. So I'm just adding some more clouds on top of the die cut clouds. And then I wanted to color in my hot air balloon, and I wanted it to be rainbow. So what I'm going to do is color each panel on the balloon a different color. So I'm going to start with red, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and then purple. You can see over to the right I did die cut another balloon from black cardstock, and that's because I wanted the basket to be black. And off camera I also wanted the different panels on the balloon to stand out more. So where those cut lines are between each panel, I went over them with a black marker. And that helped to separate each section a little bit more. And I think it tied, I thought it looked better with the stamped images because there was a little bit of black on the outlines of the stamps and then now on the hot air balloon. Okay, so here you can see I added those black lines between each of the panels, and I also added a pink heart to the center of my balloon, and that heart is included in the stamp set. I did have to fussy cut it because there was not a coordinating die for it, but you're going to see I'm going to use these hearts on another card. I thought it looked so cute in the center of that hot air balloon. And then I wanted to use the swirly clouds from the die set, and I wanted them to be blue to coordinate with the clouds on my rainbow. So I'm using the same Copic markers here to color them in. I also felt like coloring them in blue helped them to stand out against the card. And you're going to see once I add these, they do look more prominent than when they were just die cut from the white cardstock. Alright, so I added those to my card panel, and I like how this looks, so I'm going to glue everything together now. I'm going to tuck part of the sun underneath the rainbow. I thought about popping up the rainbow, but I liked that the die cut borders covered the rainbow a little bit, especially the vellum. I thought that was really nice. And now I'll just attach my little clouds with my art glitter glue. And then I think I grab my Wink of Stella pen and just add some shimmer to the hot air balloon in the rainbow. I'm also going to scatter a few of my Fairy Rock Trinity stamp gems. And whenever I add sequins or gems to my cards, I tend to always glue them going in a diagonal. I'm not sure why. I think my eye just is drawn to that because I always do it. So I'm going to flip that panel around and glue it onto a black mat. You're going to see that black mats are going to be a running theme for my 5 cards. I just think that black with rainbow looks very striking, and black in general helps to draw your eye in towards the center. So if you've been following me for a while, black mats are nothing new. I really love adding them to my cards. So as a finishing touch, I'm just going to go around the rainbow and the hot air balloon with my Wink of Stella pen, and that's going to complete card number 2. I really like this one. I think out of the 5, this one's probably my favorite. I just love how those swirly clouds turned out. Here is a close-up. Alright, moving on to my third card. This is going to be the one where I create a thunderstorm scene and a sunny scene. So I'm going to start with the sunny one, I guess, and I'm just going to do the same thing that I did on the last card, use that cloud stencil and whatever ink is left on my brush to ink blend some clouds onto this triangle. And I created these 2 triangles by just cutting a 4 by 5 1/4 inch panel right in half. And then I was left with 2 of these triangles. For this other one, I'm going to create a stormy sky. I think I used Chip Sapphire and Stormy Sky, very fitting. I'm just ink blending those with my Picket Fence Studio blender brush here. So here you can see what it's going to look like side by side. I think it's a cool concept. It was definitely the first thing that came to my head when I got the kit, especially because one of the sentiments was along the lines of there's always a rainbow after the storm kind of thing, so I thought that this design was really cool for that sentiment. So for the stormy triangle, I added some, I guess, rain using my white pearlescent watercolor from Kiritaki Gonzai metallic watercolors. It's such a long name. And then I die cut those swirly clouds from gray cardstock. And I also die cut another cloud border from some lighter gray cardstock, and I'm going to attach that to the corner of this triangle. So I'm going to lay it over, glue it down, flip it over, and then trim off the excess. Okay, and then I'm going to add my gray clouds, and then my lightning bolts. I think I add 5 of the lightning bolts to the stormy side. And then on the sunny side, I'm going to have obviously a rainbow and a sun coming from the top corner. So I'm just adhering all of my clouds and lightning bolts. On the sunny side, I'm also going to add some white clouds on the bottom corner there to coordinate with the gray clouds on the top left corner. I'm taking a Stardust glitter pen and I'm going over the swirls with that pen, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle. So here I'm taking my white cloud border and going to attach it to the bottom and trim off the excess. And then I'm going to take some of my die cut images and figure out my layout. I really like this large sun. Of course, I wanted to layer the smiling sun on it, but again, it wasn't working for this card. I really tried to make it work again, guys, but it doesn't make it. I obviously had to put a rainbow on it because there's a rainbow in the sentiment, so I did add the sun to the top corner, but I will cut most of it off here. But I felt like it just needed something else added. You can see I also have some more of those blue clouds that I'm going to add to the sunny side. I also went ahead and stamped out my sentiment with black ink on the bottom right corner, and that says, "There's always a rainbow at the end of every rain." I popped up my rainbow, and I felt like the stormy side was just missing a focal point. You know, on the right side there was the rainbow, but the left just kind of looked bare to me. So I decided to take the airplane die from the kit. I cut it once from red cardstock, once from black, and I layered the red body of the plane onto the black so that the propellers, no, is it propellers? The turny thing was black and the wheels were black, just so that it was two-toned. And then I'm going to glue it onto a black mat. This time I just wanted there to be a line between the stormy side and the sunny side just to separate them, but there is not going to be a black border around the whole thing, just that center cut. And in order to have that center piece showing, I did have to trim off both the stormy and the sunny triangle just a bit on the diagonal so that I could have that gap in between them. So I'm adding some ATG tape behind this black panel, and I will attach it to my A2 card base. And then that will complete this card. I didn't add any gems to this. I thought the concept was cool, and I just left it as is. So we're moving on to my fourth card, and included in the kit were these paper airplanes, which I thought were so cute, and I thought it would be funny to have the snails flying on the paper airplanes. So I added 2 of the snails, and then I am also going to add a red propeller plane in the center. And that plane is really cute because it has a tail coming out of the back of the plane, and you can add a little flag to it. So I added the "Please Deliver By" banner, which I cut from black cardstock and white heat embossed the sentiment on. I'm now attaching my little snails to the plane. This time the sun made it to this card, guys. I thought that it looked really cute in the bottom left corner. So now I'm going to attach my snails. And I made sure to tuck them into the plane. There was actually some slits that were perfect for my little snails to sit inside of. So I did cut 2 of the planes from white and 1 from gray. And I'm going to pop up the propeller plane. And you can see I did ink blend the same cloud background that I did on the first 2 cards onto a stitch rectangle panel. And I did add a cloud border to the bottom. I don't know if I mentioned, no, I did not mention that, but I did add that. And I'm going to pop up my sun. And I really wanted the sentiment Happy Mail, which I messed up the first time. That's why I added that cloud border. So I'm going to try again, and I think I switched to VersaFine ink to ensure that I get a nice crisp black ink. And I will stamp that as soon as I add my black mat behind this. And I guess attach it to my card base. So this card has a black and a white border. So here I'm going to re-stamp the Happy Mail, and believe it or not, I did not stamp it well the second time. So I'm going to take a black pen and fill in those areas that didn't stamp very nicely. And then that will complete card number 4. This one was really quick, but I thought those little snails were super cute. And I wanted to tie some more red onto the card, so I stamped and colored 3 hearts from the stamp set, and I'm going to just attach those to the card. And I thought that filled the space in a little bit better. You can add gems. I think that would also look nice, but like I said, I just wanted some more red. I thought the hearts looked pretty cute. So I added some shimmer pen to the plane and the hearts, and then that will complete card number 4. For my final card, I'm going to create yet another blue cloud stencil background. Same deal, I'm not even re-inking my brush, I'm using whatever is on it. And I'm ink blending onto this small stitch rectangle die. And I'm going to add some black strips behind it. I love that I incorporated just a little bit of black onto each of my cards. And then I have another rectangle panel that is cut to 4 by 5¼ inches, so I'm layering that on top. I'm going to take my other rainbow die cut, and I think I want that to be at the bottom. Included in the die set is a hello banner, which you can also attach to the back of the propeller plane. So I die cut the hello from black cardstock, and I'm going to layer some white behind it. So like I said, you didn't get all the coordinating dies for the stamps, but you did get quite a few extra dies that coordinate very nicely with the stamp set. And I like the, I guess, die cut elements mixed in with the stamped. I think that looks really cool and different. So same deal with the hot air balloons. I colored them in rainbow, and here you can see I am adding those black lines to the center, which will separate each of the panels on the balloon. And I did add a pink heart to the center of them. I loved how that looked on the first card, or I guess the second card. Alright, so I like how everything looks. I'm going to attach everything now. I am first adhering my ink blended panel with some ATG tape. And then you can see I added foam tape to each of my stamped images and my die cuts. You can also see I stamped out "Sending You Love" onto the rainbow. So I like that everything is popped up. There's some nice dimension. And then just to embellish this card, I'm going to add some fairy rock gems. And then of course I'm going to mat this panel onto some black cardstock, which I believe I cut to the size of an A2 card base. So I will attach everything with my ATG tape. And then I'll attach the black mat onto my card base. And that will complete my final card. I will go ahead and show you all 5 cards that I created today. I love how they all coordinate and have a little bit of black added to them all. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you haven't yet already, please subscribe to my channel. I am about 20 people away from reaching 3,000 subscribers. I've already started planning out my 3,000 subscriber giveaway, so that's going to be really fun. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.